There are 7 billion ways to exist as a human on this earth, and this is mine. Hey, I'm Abina Ansa, also known as BeenieTV, and you are listening to Spirituali-TEA, the podcast. All spirit, all wellness, and all the random ish that goes through my mind. Let's get into today's episode. Hey everybody! Thank you for listening and clicking on this podcast episode. This is the premiere episode. I'm so happy that you're here listening to this while you're on the road. Hey everyone, I am Abina Ansa. That's what you call me in America. In Ghana, your friend Abina Ansa. And on the internet, I am BeenieTV. And I'm so happy and so excited to finally be presenting my podcast to the world. My mission on this earth is to uplift the collective consciousness and always connecting with beautiful beautiful souls as we all learn how to navigate our time here on earth. How is everyone doing? Shout out to all of the people over the past few years that have pressured me to start this podcast. And I'm just like, sis, I do so many things. Would you like to record the podcast for me? Thank you. So if you are not familiar with me, I am a certified yoga teacher. I am a doula trainee. I am a certified emotional freedom technique facilitator. I like to call myself a healing facilitator, and I assist people through their healing process. I have been on the internet for about 8 years, 9 years, talking about spirituality, holistic living, period positivity, crystals, everything you can imagine, everything that is spiritual, that is me. I also own my own business. I sell ethically sourced shea butter from Ghana. My brand is called Salome Shea, named after my late grandmother, and it really is a passion project of mine, and I honestly have the best shea butter you will ever experience in your life. So don't say I didn't warn you when it sells out. Don't say I didn't warn you when it sells out, because bruh, it's really good. I'm not even gonna toot my own horn, but toot. Okay, so this podcast is, I wanted to do this podcast. I realized that it was time for me to do this podcast last year during 2020, when I realized that I had no one to talk to. A lot of my friends moved away. I've shifted out of a lot of friendships as I um, went through depression and experienced heavy grief after my grandma passed away. And I went through my Saturn's return, dark night of the soul, and I was just leveling up, and leveling up like a butterfly when you're in that cocoon doesn't always feel good. So I was in a space where I wasn't speaking with my family, I wasn't talking to my friends, I was just just with myself. And I was having conversations with myself in the shower. I was having conversations with myself, like, more than often. Obviously, we were in quarantine. And I was having conversations with myself. And I was making myself laugh. And I was like, bro, I'm like really funny and weird and lovable and awesome. I'm going to start the podcast. So that's why we're here. So there are good things that came out of Corona. COVID. Every time I say Corona, I'm like, wait, is that the right word? Because we call it COVID, but it was called Corona, coronavirus. And anyway, does that happen to you too? I don't know anyway. Okay, so yeah, this podcast is going to be really me and my essence, a lot of random singing, a lot of random thoughts. Sometimes it's going to feel like, okay, where are we going? Sometimes it's going to feel really random. And sometimes you are going to, well, I know you are going to be uplifted and inspired and intrigued. And you are going to be better after you finish listening. And that's on period. And before we get into the episode, some ways that you can support me is by leaving a review for this podcast. You can shop salomeshay.com, shop my merch, or bless me with a divine donation. PayPal and Cash App are BeenieTV. And let's go ahead and get into the topic of the day. And hey, because I don't come to play. What? No, she don't come to play. Eh, eh, okay. I'm done being silly. Okay, let's get into the episode. Okay, so one of my goals for this podcast is to interview Aubrey Graham, aka Drake. Now, my friend and I have this theory that Drake is an empath. I'm sorry, Aubrey Graham is an empath. And if you don't know what an empath is a can sometimes be a highly sensitive person that can feel different people's or rooms' energies. Sometimes they might also be an intuitive, or they might be able to have clairsentience, clairaudience, clairvoyance. So, all around a special person. And we have this theory that Aubrey Graham is an empath, and that Drake is his higher self that he portrays to the world, and that he also might be an overeating empath like me, where when you feel uncomfortable, food is your vice, food is your go to. And Aubrey Graham is a skinty guy. And now he's like a thick mommy. And we don't want to judge someone's body type, especially men. We don't know what men go through when it comes to body image and things like that. And a lot of us know that, like, Aubrey Graham is like, sometimes he puts on, and that's okay, right? Not put on weight. I didn't, ooh, shade. Not put on weight. People put on, like, when I'm out in public, I am my higher self. I dress like my higher self. Sometimes I can feel like a costume, but it's all about, I think, okay, for me, it's all about, no, this is me. Like, this is me. But I think with Aubrey Graham, it's also like a form of protection, right? His Drake persona is a form of protection for him. And I would just love to interview him and really understand the spiritual side, the sensitive side to who this man is. I think it'll be a really cathartic experience for him, for the listeners, and for me, because that is a huge goal I have in my life. So, this episode it's not about Aubrey Graham. It's about meditation. What? No, it's not. It's about manifestation and masturbation. And if either of those words make you feel uncomfortable, this is not the podcast for you. I'm not it for you, but I'm it for me. And that's all that matters, you see. So a few years ago, there was this theory going around on Tumblr, Instagram, about how cosmic the female orgasm is, and how, because you are in such a high state of consciousness, that nothing is stopping you or blocking you from placing a blessing or a prayer, quick prayer, or manifestation while you're having an orgasm. And that it reaches, because you're in such a high frequency, and manifestation is all about frequency and energy and being in the highest vibration of what already is, that when you're in an orgasmic state, all of those because you're in that orgasmic state, you're able to be like, boop, here you go, God, I would like this to happen. If any of you have tried it, let me know. If you've never tried it, if you're like, ooh, I don't know. And for me, so let's talk about this. I don't like to use the word masturbation. I like to use the word sensual self-pleasure. Yes. Get into it. We doing sensual self-pleasure. And because I don't sensual self-pleasure often, When I do, I make it count. Okay, we make it count, honey. I take my spiritual bath. I put on my lingerie. I get my little toy. And then and this is not all the time, but I usually don't say like, "Oh my God, I want a Lexus." Oh yeah. No. It's more like, this is how I would like to feel. This is what I would like to release. Um and spiritual studies show that when you are in a sexual state and you're kind of focused on, how do I say this? It's like when you're focused on the sexual state, like when you're only focused on the pleasure, it's like it takes you out of what you could be experiencing cosmically, spiritually, self pleasure all the time. But I will say, when, let's say I'm just wanting to tune into my divine feminine more, and then when you reach that higher state, it just makes the whole experience just so luscious and so just like divine feminine energy. Because when you are focused on just the pleasure, excuse me, sorry if you heard that burp. When you're focused on just the pleasure, that's a lower frequency, right? Like that is a lower vibrating experience. That's very dense. It's very third dimension. So it's more just like, take advantage. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. Your soul is like vibrating at an orgasmic level all the time. So it's like, just already take advantage and be be at the vibration you are already at. Manifestation is all about it's all about vibration. Everything is energy, everything is vibration. Everything is in the unseen before it's in the seen. So if you are desiring to will 10K into your life, you need to feel that right now. What would it feel like right now if you received 10K? It would be, or for me, I would be like, oh my God, yes, yes, oh my gosh, yes, I deserve this, yes, 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 oh my God. And I would be jumping around my room in excitement and probably crying because of just being overjoyed. So manifestation is all about feeling it in the moment. You could have $1 in your bank account, but honey, if you are feeling like you have 10K in your bank account, that's all the universe needs, is the feeling, the vibration. And I know sometimes it can be tough because, sometimes you get these curveballs, but trust me, okay? Oh, you guys remember that show, My Brother and Me? That one episode where the the kid was like, hit me, and then he hit him. But trust me when I say, every single moment that you spend, even if it's for 3 seconds, it takes 45 seconds to it takes 45 seconds for the universe to recognize a vibration. Okay, and this is positive or negative. So if you for even if you do it for 10 seconds, your angels and your spirit guides are still like, oh, okay, she tried. We gonna add it to her, her check sheet. Like we're gonna count that. Everything you do matters. Everything you do counts. So if you can hold a vibration for 45 seconds, so for 45 seconds, if you can just hold on to that feeling of, woo, $500 coming into my account. Yes, I'm so happy, so excited. $500 is coming into my account. Oh my God, when I get that 500, I'm going to pay this. I'm going to buy this. Do that for 45 seconds. You've locked it in. It's easier than we think, than we allow it. But if you're like me, sometimes your emotions get the best of you, and if you're not in a great emotional state, it's kind of hard to like get out of it. It is. And I'm not even going to sit here and BS you, but that does not mean that the 45 seconds that you spent yesterday, visualizing and feeling excited about the $500 or the $10,000, it doesn't mean that it doesn't matter. It matters. So I hope that this first episode of the Spirituali-TEA podcast inspired you, uplifted you. If it did not and you feel confused and you feel like, what is going on? I'm never going to listen again. I would love to hear from you. Go ahead. Feel free to DM me on Instagram at BeenieTV. Feel free to follow me on Twitter at BeenieTV. You can support me by shopping my merch, which is going to be linked. You can support me by shopping my brand, Salome Shea, where I sell ethically sourced shea butter. And you can support me by sending divine donations to my CASHAPP and PayPal. Both are BeenieTV. I really hope that this podcast got your soul stirring. And I pray that you move into the following few days, the following few hours, the following few weeks, feeling like the empress and emperor that you are. And if you want to stay in touch with me, outside of the podcast, I do intuitive guided meditations every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on YouTube. And I am also on Insight Timer and on TikTok. You can follow me on TikTok at BeenieTV6. I usually go live daily there. And with all of these, it's always just what Spirit wants me to talk about. So yeah. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will be with you guys in the next episode. Peace.